He wanted me to pound fufu. But that wasn't all he meant. I never thought that a simple bus ride with my neighbor's husband would turn into a crazy adventure, but little did I know, it was just the beginning of a wild and emotional roller coaster. As I entered the bus, I couldn't help but notice my neighbor's husband standing by the door. He smiled at me, and I smiled back, feeling a sense of familiarity. We exchanged pleasantries, and he even offered to pay for my fare. I was surprised but grateful. A whole N700. I thought to myself. It used to be N500 before, but I guess inflation had caught up with us. As he alighted from the bus, I decided to get off with him. He looked surprised and asked if that was where I was going. I smiled mischievously and told him no, that I was only following him. He raised an eyebrow and asked why. I took a deep breath and told him that since he had paid N700 for my fare in this economy, it meant I was his, and he should take me home and use me. He looked taken aback, and I could sense his embarrassment. He asked if I was sure, and I nodded confidently. I even added a sarcastic comment about his bald head, just to lighten the mood. He chuckled and said that his wife would love me, and then asked if I could pound fufu well. I felt a surge of confusion and annoyance. Pound what, sir? I thought to myself. He seemed to sense my confusion and clarified that he would want me to pound fufu for his wife, and if he was impressed, he would pound me. I felt a wave of revulsion wash over me. Was this man serious? I decided to play along, just to see how far he would take this conversation. I asked him if he meant that he would put me inside a mortar and pound me with a pestle. He laughed and said I was being childish. But I knew exactly what he meant. He was propositioning me, asking me to engage in an illicit activity with him. I felt a surge of anger and disgust. How could he think that I would agree to such a thing? Did he think I was some kind of commodity that he could use for his pleasure? I realized that I had to make it clear to him that I was not interested. I told him that I had only followed him home to wash plates and sweep the house, not to engage in any kind of illicit activity. He looked disappointed, but I didn't care. I had made my position clear, and I was not going to compromise my values for anyone. As I turned to leave, he called out to me, asking if I wouldn't even consider climbing into bed with him. I turned back to him, my anger and disgust evident on my face. Are you kidding me? I asked him. Do you think I'm some kind of prostitute? He looked taken aback by my outburst, and I could sense his embarrassment. I took advantage of the moment to make my exit, leaving him standing there, looking foolish. As I walked away, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and self-respect. I had stood up for myself and made it clear that I would not be treated like a commodity. I had defended my values and my dignity, and I felt empowered by the experience. But as I walked, I couldn't shake off the feeling of sadness and disappointment. I had thought that my neighbor's husband was a decent man, but now I realized that he was just like all the other men who thought they could use women for their pleasure. I thought about all the women who had been objectified and commodified by men like him. I thought about all the women who had been treated like prostitutes, who had been used and discarded like trash. And I felt a surge of anger and determination. I knew that I had to speak out against this kind of behavior. I knew that I had to stand up for myself and for all the women who had been treated like commodities. And I knew that I had to make my voice heard. As I walked, I felt a sense of purpose and determination. I knew that I had a long journey ahead of me, but I was ready to fight. I was ready to stand up for myself and for all the women who had been treated like commodities. And as I walked, I felt a sense of pride and self-respect. I had stood up for myself, and I had made my voice heard. I had defended my values and my dignity, and I had felt empowered by the experience. I knew that I would always stand up for myself, no matter what. I knew that I would always make my voice heard, no matter what. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the story, subscribe to join the Dark and Toxic family, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next wild tale. Also, share this video with someone who needs to hear this.